Startup ecosystem, what the idea is that you have to learn how to pitch your idea clearly and concisely. And once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless you have, if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the Lean Startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally. And we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about in language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow, send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Start Up on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Start Up on the Blocks.
Okay, let's talk about a powerful little mental model, one that's designed to do one crucial thing. Take your most ambitious idea and figure out if it's actually doable in just about 5 minutes. It's really all about bridging that gap between a dream and a real actionable plan. You know that feeling, right? You've got this brilliant idea, but then this little voice creeps in and asks, is this thing for real? Is it a viable business, or am I just chasing a fantasy? How do you tell the difference before you sink months or even years into it? Well, that's exactly where the rapid feasibility test comes in. The whole concept is beautifully simple. It uses the power of 10 to make you work backward from your biggest, most ambitious goal. Look, this isn't about perfectly predicting the future. It's about getting crystal clear and doing it fast. So, how does this thing actually work? Well, the very first step is to map out what's called a 10x traction roadmap. See, instead of starting from today and kind of guessing your way forward, we're going to start with your huge, ambitious vision for success, and then we're going to reverse engineer the path to get there. So let's start with a really ambitious 3-year goal. We'll use the example from the source material, building a business with $10 million in annual recurring revenue, or ARR. Now, to hit that number, the model says they need 10,000 of what they call rabbit customers. Just think of these as your ideal, high-value users. This big goal, it's the peak of the mountain we're about to climb. And here is where that 10x rule really kicks in. It's so simple. To hit 10,000 customers in year 3, you've got to have 1,000 by the end of year 2. And to get those, you need to have your first 100 by the end of year 1. See? Just like that, by working backward, we have these clear, concrete milestones. Okay, we've got our roadmap. But, a map doesn't always show you just how steep the mountain really is. So let's move on and actually stress test that 3-year goal to understand the true scale of what it's going to take. This is where the fantasy gets a nice, healthy dose of reality. So our goal is 10,000 paying customers.
All right, awesome. So, hey, everyone. So tonight I'm going to be taking the place of Lloyd. Super thankful for Lloyd for helping me out get trained in the LEANSTACK level program. So I started off with level 1, made it all the way to level 3 over the years working with the Kakua Institute and talking with Lloyd. So tonight I'm going to be showcasing how to actually use an AI coder in order to build out a landing page. My cat wanted to do a quick cameo real quick. So I'm going to be going over to Claude, but let me first make sure I share my screen. So I've been using Claude for the last few months in order to rapidly develop landing pages, but also AI applications. And even today, I found a special feature that will help rapidly build AI applications out. So I'm going to go ahead and go to regular Claude.ai. I will also mention that ChatGPT has this feature, so I'll lightly showcase that ChatGPT feature too. But the core flow that we're going to do tonight is we're going to be focused on building a landing page, and then also building out application if I have the time. And then in between that, right, like you need to get traction. So you want to make sure you have email capture. I recommend using any kind of waitlist software that you can find, but even just like having a Google form at a minimum is really good. Now, personally, I like to use tally.so. So I'm gonna use the tally form just to capture them right now. But if you want something a bit more advanced, I will just showcase this real quick. There's a launch list, and launch list is fun because it's like viral sharing features. So if you want something a bit more viral where people can share it, launch list, super cheap. It's free to get started. And it's even cheap when you upgrade. But if you just want to get started with something else, I recommend tally.so. And that's like completely free. And I love their free version. All right, so landing page to email capture. I'll start with Tally. And then we'll try to do application too. So for those that don't know Claude, it's like ChatGPT's main competitor. And I'm just gonna double check. Screen share still going. Dive into this. Yep. All right, so Claude is ChatGPT's main competitor. And what it's actually able to do, it's able to almost a little bit more logically analyze code, but also data. I do love ChatGPT, especially ChatGPT 5 for like broad AI use cases. But I personally find that Claude has a little bit more logic behind it, especially again with data, encoding, any kind of processes like that. So I'm going to tell Claude, and let's just say I'll do a basic startup landing page. So let's say for a fictional startup called Startup, typos are okay, so let's don't do too many. For a fictional startup called Startup, I need a landing page. I'm going to be driving traffic to my landing page, and I want to capture emails. I want to have a button that leads to a form, and I want to have the classic startup landing page setup. Just to give it a little bit of an idea, let's say navbar, hero section, let's do benefits next, and then features, pricing, email list. Instead of pricing, let's do the email list, right? Because we're trying to pre-market. And then let's add a footer, and let's add a emotional pitch. You got your elevator pitch there. All right. So this looks good. Last thing I just need to do is HTML, CSS, website for the output. And you can add your own styles. I'm just gonna make it direct and say, make it black and white, but super modern. So what's gonna happen is Claude is gonna understand the instructions first, and then the actual feature inside of Claude that I'm using, it's called Claude Artifacts. If for some reason Claude, based on a similar prompt, doesn't actually start writing the code for you, it's probably because you need to go into your settings in Claude and then enable the artifacts feature. So I told Claude to make a HTML and CSS website. So HTML, right, that's just the structure for the website. So that's gonna be what people are actually interacting with, like the buttons, the paragraphs of text, the images, but then CSS are the actual styles for the website. I don't need to fully understand all that because like, right, the AI coder will be the one to actually implement it for me. I just need to make sure I understand the vibe and the solution or functionality that I want with what I'm making. So in this case, because it's a landing page, it's gonna be pretty direct in terms of making a website. Now, one thing else, I did say to make it modern and a bit like pretty. So it's taking some time with the styles right now. So what I can actually do while it's doing this is I can open up another chat. I'm gonna really quickly close the background applications. Get a little bit more RAM going for the AI in the browser. And here we go. So, right, I can have two chats going so that I'm coding two things at the same time. So now I can actually get started on more of like an AI application. I don't know what kind of AI app I'm gonna make right now, but I can just go ahead and get started because like, right, the code needs to generate anyway. So I don't know what kind of AI app I want to make. Help me figure it out and ask questions to refine the design. I want to use, this is important, or I want to make an AI app that uses the Claude API so that I have a proof of concept for my new startup. All right, so what's gonna happen here is Claude's gonna start just asking me some like direct questions to figure out what I want. So I can use these as a basis. So if you don't have like an idea, but you wanna start getting started with like coding with AI apps, I highly recommend this because it just shows you like in general what you need in order to get started. So now, right, to give me different examples, I can actually read the questions. What industry or problem is your startup targeting? Who is your intended audience, consumers or businesses? What's the core value prop? Some classic startup questions. So now let's say like I actually do have a startup. Let's say I want to make I'm making an AI education startup that's focused on teaching people how to use AI by making games. I want to make word games that teach people how to prompt AI better. Please design a game that I can make with artifacts using the Claude API. So now I'm telling you a bit more of like what I want. And let's say the problem is that people don't understand AI prompting as well as they need to in order to get the full power of AI. I want to bridge this gap. All right, it's gonna start designing that, but let me check out what's happening with this website. So here we go. Startup. The future of business starts here. Transform your workflow with cutting edge technology that adapts to your needs and scales with your ambition. Then we have like a free trial button. And then we have learn more. We have why choose startup. And then it gets into like the actual different benefits. You start seeing the features. Spots for images if you want to add images. Email input like I asked for. And then don't just run a business, build a legacy. So now I have this like template, right? And then I can change anything I want. Like I can say remove this testimonial as an example. So let me start, remove this testimonial. And then let me also do this real quick. So tally.so. And I'm going to, I think I have an account, so I'm going to log in. Continue with Google. Okay. Looks like I didn't, so it's having me do it real quick. Random fields. And there we go. New account, new form. All right, so example traction building form. So then, right, I can say email, and I like to do the input block, so that adds like the actual, oh wait, 1 second. I actually like doing the question, sorry. So enter to start from scratch, slash, and then questions email. And then what it does is it actually adds the question and the input block into the form. So then I can just say email for now, right? And then there we go. If I wanted to, I could even add a description. So I can say, this is for my startup so that you can join the wait list. Now, of course, all of this like template language that I'm adding in, you would want to replace with like the actual value proposition and the pitch for your startup. And I can always clean it up once I get the core structure going. So here's the link, copy, open a new tab, paste it in, and we can see, there we go. I'm just gonna test it real quick. So different email. There we go. If I go back to Tally, go to submissions, I can see it worked. So that means the link works, which means, right, remove the testimonial at the bottom. and then instead of an email input field, have the button linked to this form. All right, I hit enter. So now what's going to happen, it already has the website, right? But it's actually going to start editing the code so that it works how I want it to work. And this is what I really like to say the future of web development is, where we don't have to focus on writing the code anymore because AI is getting better and better at coding literally on a weekly, monthly basis. So now it's more about understanding how to engineer the prompts and the overarching flow so that then you get the output that you want. So while it's finishing that quick update, I'm going to go ahead and read this design for the actual game that we're making. So teaching AI prompting through games, brilliant approach. Let me design prompt master, prompting challenges. Players are given increasingly complex challenges where they must craft prompts to get Claude to produce specific outputs. Level 1 is precision training, then role setting, format master, etc. So they get accuracy points, efficiency bonuses, creativity bonuses, and more. Sounds like a game. So sounds good. Go ahead and code this for me and make sure to make it an AI app that integrates the Claude API using artifacts. All right, so we can see it's gotten started like making the application. Just want to highlight, it's going to use React for this. And that's because React is a bit more modular than HTML, which means the website will be faster for the purposes of our application. So you're making more of a scalable application when you use React. So it's good that I saw that at the top because now I trust it to make a scalable application. It's going for it right now. So I'm just going to leave it alone while it makes the application. I'm going to go back to the website we were making. And then just also want to highlight, right, in this like hour, I'm working on 2 things at once. So that's the other power of AI. Because I don't have to consistently go in with writing the code, testing the code, and doing that traditional software engineering loop, I can actually just focus more on the vibe and the outcomes that I want, and then just make sure the AI is literally doing the work that it should be doing. So scrolling, it looks like it kept the field. So I'm gonna have to make that more specific. And then if I hit the get, so it looks like it also kept that. And that's one of the things where, again, the prompt engineering, you gotta make it a bit more specific for it to work. So let's see. So open link. Let's see. Okay. So it looks like it linked to Claude. So remove the testimonial, but it technically didn't, and then replaced it. So what could be happening? Let me just double check. I'm in version 2. Seems like it. So, right, these are new tools. They can totally make mistakes. So let me say, bad job, all caps. You didn't remove the pitch or the testimonial from the emotional pitch. Please make sure to do this and add the tally link to the get early access to the free trial and get early access buttons. And then remove the enter your email input field. And just to like extra make sure that it knows what it's doing, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a screenshot of what I want it to work on. I'm actually gonna send it this screenshot so that it knows exactly what it should be fixing. And these screenshots are important because the AI can get a sense of what the website looks like from the code, but then actually having like the visual reference gives the AI more context or directions for its like coding. So I'm going to go ahead and send that prompt with those images over. And then I'm going to go check in on my app. Actually, real quick, before I check in on the app, we can see it actually says, you're absolutely right. I apologize for missing that. Let me fix those issues now. So even the AI admitted that it messed up. So that's a good sign because now it's finding the issue itself. So now here's the actual game that we're working on. Let's see how this works. So create. Get Claude to write exactly 3 sentences about pandas. Response must be exactly 3 sentences, each ending with a period. Okay. Write 3 sentences about how cute pandas are. I need only 3 sentences, and each should end with a period. All right, submit. So now we can see it actually did send it over to Claude, and Claude ended up writing a paragraph about pandas. And then it actually put, so here's my score: accuracy 40, efficiency 10, speed 0, creativity 0. But it was enough for me to go to the next level. So if I click again, so here we go. Make Claude respond as a pirate explaining how to use a smartphone. Okay. Right, you are a pirate. You are a pirate who speaks in traditional pirate lingo. Write a paragraph about how to use a smartphone. Make it fun, short, funny, and educational. All right. He's going to process it again, and then we're going to see the output. Here we go. So I don't know exactly if the speed and creativity scores are working, but the application across the board really feels like it's working. So this is good to go. I'm at like a proof of concept level with this application. So I'm going to go ahead and then just make sure to publish it so that I can share it. And now I have the link right here. So I'm just going to leave that open. And then let's check out what happened with the website. Okay, it says that I did the changes. Let's see if it actually did the changes. Okay, so it keeps trying to take me to like this one thing. I'm gonna assume that it's working. I just want to say with AI coders, not all of the features will work in this preview menu. So sometimes what you need to do is download the code so that then you can actually test it how it really works, because maybe it's working, but it's just not working in this preview. So I'm going to download the HTML. And then I'm going to go to my Finder so I can actually see the code. There we go. So now I'm going to double click it, and I'm actually on the website. So now it's on my computer. I own the code. And now let me click this button and see what happens. So it actually takes me down here. It did still leave this enter the email, so it's having some trouble there. And then let me see if it removed the testimonial or not. It looks like it didn't remove the testimonial. So it's having a little bit of trouble with doing like the website edits. Now, there could be a few reasons for that. I have some things going on in the background. I'm going to take a real quick second just to close some tabs. And then I'm also going to refresh it. I do want to say, if an AI coder for some reason doesn't work or is acting a bit tedious, definitely make sure to like close some tabs, maybe even restart your computer, refresh the browser or like that page, and then see how it does. So I just did a few of those. So let's see what happens. So I'm actually going to, right? If something you don't like really is happening, depending on your experience with coding, you can actually go into the code and then highlight what's not working. So right here. So, right, and improve. So remove the email input and make it, and I'm gonna say form, remove and form and make it so that the, grab this link. So improve. Make it so that this form doesn't exist and is replaced with a button that links to Tally. Okay. So, right, every time the AI has trouble with the code, I make my prompts more advanced so that it can get more specific. So the first time I asked it to do it, it just literally didn't do it. So then the second time, I actually sent it images. With the images, it still didn't technically do it. So now I literally went to the code, highlighted the code, and we'll see what happens. You can see it actually did fix it that time. Scrolling back up. So now it looks exactly how I expect it to look. So it just took it to, I had to go to the level of actually highlighting the code so that it knew where to fix it. So let's do the same thing for this testimonial. And if you don't know where in the code to highlight something, you can always share your code with a tool like ChatGPT or Claude to ask it where in the code that specific element is happening. So right here, it says testimonial. So I'm going to highlight this. Remove the testimonial from this section. Okay, it said that I removed it. Let's actually double check to make sure it did it. And it looks like it actually did do it this time. All right, cool. So now there's a few ways where I can publish this website if I want to share it with people. One, I can hit publish right here. And just like I did with the application, I'll get a link that I can share with people. What's been happening when I showcase this to people though, is they honestly don't like how it says like that Claude AI and there's like 0 branding inside of it. So then there's a free tool that I use in order to host code. So you're going to, and this is air quotes, the best way to do it. You're going to start with GitHub and you're going to make a new repository. Repositories are basically like folders for holding code. You can think of GitHub as like the Google Drive for code. So now, right, I'm going to do Kakua example landing page. I'm going to say AI landing page. I'm going to make my code private so that people can't view it. If you want people to be able to view your code, you can leave it as public. And then even if it's private, you can add people to the code project so that they have access. And then I'm going to add a README. And that's just because I've noticed with like AI coding tools, if it already has a file in the repository, it's easier for the AI coding tool to just kind of hook into it. So I make sure to add a README. And then I hit create and I have my repository. Now, there's a few different ways I can approach this. I found this to be the easiest. So whatever your website looks like, again, you can hit download as HTML. So for me, it's going to be start landing page 1. So now I'm going to go back to my GitHub. But before I do anything else, I'm going to really quickly, and I'll see if it lets me name it this right here. It might not. Yep. So I'm going to need to really quickly copy this. And new folder, I'm just gonna call it examples. And I'm going to paste in that item. and name it index.html. So there we go. So now, right, I have add file, upload file, choose file. And then I'm going to go to my documents. I put in examples, index.html. So I'm going to click on that, upload that. Let me say landing page for startup. Example, landing page. All right. And commit. All right. So now it's right there. I'm going to go over to Vercel. And then I'm gonna hit add new. I already have an account. If you don't have an account, you can make one. The free plan will allow you to do what I'm currently doing. So then you hit add new project, and you might need to connect your GitHub account if it's not already connected. Mine is already connected. And you can see, like, even outside the example I just did, I've been like coding today using like AI coders. So I'm gonna import this most recent example, and then I'm gonna hit deploy. And it's going to take a second while it double checks that the code is all good to go. And then it's going to actually deploy the app, or sorry, the website. So now that it's deployed, I can actually share the website with people. So it gives me this link. I can click on it. And this is like a legit live link to the overarching website. So now I have a shareable website that's hosted on Vercel, and I can use my AI coder in order to update it. I would just update it on Claude. And then every time I want to add a new one, I could just go to GitHub, and I would literally like delete that file, upload the newest one, and then just make sure that Vercel is all good to go. And I see the updates on Vercel. So that's a direct way to get started with making websites using AI coders. And also, again, we do have the link to the tally. So because we have the link to the tally, not only did I make a landing page, but I also made it so that now it's a traction building landing page. So now, right, I can not only pitch and showcase my idea, but I can also have people start entering their email. So then I can showcase to potential investors that I'm building traction. People are interested in the overarching solution to the point where they're entering their email to get more information. And then, of course, you can always email those people to start running those LeanStack level 2 interviews. So what I would recommend is like level 1, go through the traditional level 1 processes. I recommend at the end of LeanStack level 1, we're doing like your pitch deck, make the pitch deck. After the pitch deck, actually make a landing page using your pitch deck. Again, you can add tally.so so that then you can start building a wait list of people. And again, you went from pitch deck to landing page to now you actually have a wait list. And then from that wait list, the people, the emails, you can email them and ask them to do the interviews at the start of LeanStack level 2. So really this AI coding process, you can see it as a really strong bridge to take you from the end of LeanStack level 1 to almost like halfway through LeanStack level 2. And now we actually have this application right here. So I've already tested this. I already like it. And I can straight up ask Claude, how can I deploy this? So let me see what file I get when I download. So I get a TypeScript file. So how can I deploy this .tsx file to Vercel in the most direct way? Probably using GitHub. So we can see that this actually does get a little advanced. I'm not gonna lie, I just found this AI app building feature in the Claude artifacts just today. So I'm still getting used to this, but TBH, it's amazing. It's amazing for building proof of concepts. Now, if you actually want to build an MVP, I wouldn't say this is MVP level because MVP means product. So technically people need to be able to buy something. We didn't integrate Stripe, PayPal, Cash App, or any of that. So it's not an MVP just yet, but it is a proof of concept. It is something that we can showcase and see if people align to it. So I would recommend that right now, the best way to share it, the most direct way, is probably to just hit this publish button and then actually get this link. But then if you want to take it a step further, just because I have some time left, so what you can do, so I can download this file, and then we can start doing something just a little bit fancier. So Claude is the AI model. Claude is made by Anthropic. Anthropic is the actual business that makes the AI model, Claude. But there are different variations of that model. So as an example, there's Sonnet, there's Opus, and there's even Claude Code. And if I go back, you can see down here, I was using Opus 4.1. So essentially, now I'm going to switch over to using Claude Code, which is actually even better for coding. It uses Opus 4.1, but it has references for coding that I like a little bit more when I'm doing full development. So what I can actually do, I can go to GitHub, and then I can go back home, and I can start a new repository specifically for the app. So I can call it Kakua. I'm going to do example, and this time I'm going to do AI app. I'm going to make the code private because I don't want people to see the code to my application. I am still going to add the README, and I'm going to create the repository. I do want to highlight the artifacts feature you can use on the free plan with Claude.ai, but what I'm about to do, you will need at least the $20 a month subscription with Claude AI in order to do this. So one, I need to get my code so that what the AI coder I'm about to use can reference the code I already have. So I'm going to go ahead. I think I downloaded it. I'm going to double check. Yep. So now I'm going to add that file just like I did last time. It's in my downloads. The name doesn't matter because I'm just going to be referencing this file in a prompt. So initial application, and then commit. Okay, so now I do have the actual code. So now we're going to use a special feature inside of GitHub called Code Spaces, which allows us to edit our code online, like literally in the web browser. And then I'm also going to be using what's called Claude Code. So I'm going to type in Claude Code install. And one more time, to use Claude Code, you do need a $20 a month plan. And before I do this, just because the code spaces do take up a little bit of RAM, I am going to start closing a few other tabs. You visit often, yep. So Claude Code allows you to code in your terminal. This just basically means it's all like text-based coding. It doesn't have like a fancy menu, but the model itself is very fancy. I love it for coding again. So this is the install command. And because we're using a GitHub code space, I don't need to worry about like the whole setup and everything that most programs need to worry about because the code space already has it pre-set up. So I just need this install command. So I'm going to copy that. And then it ran into a small error. So that's fine because I can just open another code space. So refresh. Go to code, code space. It looks like this one is still active, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on it. Leave it alone for a second to make sure it has full time to load with everything new and needed. So we can see over here is my actual code that I got from Claude. This is the README file that I told it to start with. And now the terminal has finished loading. So I'm going to click down here in the terminal. I'm going to paste that in command. It's going to ask me if I want to share my clipboard. I do in this case. And now I'm going to hit enter on this install command. It's going to take a second for Claude to hook to it, and then it's going to start actually installing Claude code. Once it's done installing, you can type in the Claude command. And now you actually have access to Claude code. I just need to go through the setup. So yeah, I have my subscription. So I'm going to go ahead and log in using my subscription. Sometimes when you hit this authorize button the first time, it doesn't always work. That's totally normal, to be honest. So then you just got to click this link. And then you hit the authorize button another time, and then it actually gives you the code that you need in order to activate your subscription. So now I paste it down there and hit enter. You can see login successful, hit enter again. It can make mistakes, it has risk, hit enter. Terminal setup, recommended settings, yep. It's risky, security risk, yep. All right, and one more time, some features, and hit enter. And now we are here. So now I actually have access to Claude code, and this can do like full-on development. So I'm going to tell it, right? I have a React application in the prompt-master-game.tsx file. I need you to analyze this and then update the README with the correct information. Then I want you to turn this .tsx file into an actual application. There's a few different frameworks you can use. You can just use regular React, or you can use Next.js. I'm just going to use Next.js because the hosting platform I use, Vercel, they're the creators of Next.js, so it's a little bit more one-to-one. So I'm going to say use Next.js and make the website black and white so that the styles are direct. All right, that should be good. Now, if I hit Shift Tab, it gives me access to different features. It's like auto accept edits in plan mode. Because I wanted to read this file and then do work, I'm going to have it use plan mode. So you can see down here, it's saying that it's actually reading the file. It's checking what's inside of the README. And now it's just checking the overarching project structure to understand. And it's actually getting started on a plan on how to take this code and turn it into a full-on Next.js application. So now it gave me a plan. So what I can do is I can actually extend this to get more view. And plan to transform prompt master game into Next.js application. So add proper project description, include setup instructions, sounds good. So update README, good. Initialize Next.js project, good. Convert component to Next.js, good. Fix API integration, good. Implement black and white design system, good. Add required dependencies, good. And then create project structure, good. Also features to implement. Looks good to me. So now I can hit yes and auto accept. And then now, right, this is literally the point where I like to say you have officially hired an AI coder. It's going to start like an AI agent is an AI agent. It's going to start coding your application for you. The only thing is in the beginning, you need to make sure to approve the actions that it's taking. But as you get further into the project, all of those approved actions start stacking and you start getting better development pacing. So then you're approving less actions with the AI and the AI is essentially auto coding for you in the background. And then where does the human really come in? That's where the vibe comes in, the creativity, the actual design, and then how you want the features. So you can think about it as the user experience, where the menu is actually located, the user interface, where are the styles, but then also what's the tone and how do people feel when they use the application. And I am going to stop right here temporarily just because it's going to start going from this point on. So from this point, right, it will probably take like, let's say 30 minutes to an hour just to make sure that I have everything fully integrated into the application. If I have any questions about how to do anything, I can always ask Claude Code right here about how to do things. and it will literally explain to me like what features could I add to the application, how to add AI to the application, how to add users, how to integrate a database. And also just want to say, once this is done, I would be able to, just like I did before, go to Vercel and then connect to my GitHub in order to get it working. The only thing is, before you do that, you have to make sure you do what's called pushing the code. Just ask Claude Code to push the code for you. You will see it in the GitHub repository, and then you'll know that it's ready for Vercel. Again, when you go to the GitHub project, you will literally see the code. All right. All right, cool. So that should stop the share on my screen. I'm not gonna lie, I don't fully know how to see questions just yet. First time doing this one. So if anybody has any questions, please make sure to ask Lloyd, and then I can make sure to do a follow-up, just answering any of those questions, and then Lloyd can send out the actual answers to any of those questions. But across the board, what we just went over tonight one more time is how to use an AI coder in order to make a landing page. Once you actually have that landing page made, you can download the file, and then you can upload it to Vercel so that then you can share it. And then that's how you build out the overarching landing page and the traction flow, so that then you're not just sharing your idea, but people can actually say they're invested in the idea by you collecting emails. And those early emails, that's how you can share traction milestones with your investors. And depending on how you stack the emails and how many emails you need, you can even show potential revenue numbers. So like 100 emails with a 10% planned conversion, times that by your price, you have potential revenue right there that you can talk about with investors. And then we also went over how to use Claude in order to develop a web app, integrate Claude's API into it so you have more of a proof of concept. And again, you can use that Claude publish button to actually share the proof of concept. Then you can download the code, upload it to GitHub, and use a tool like Claude Code in order to keep developing on it. I do want to highlight Claude Code has robust features. So I can spend like a whole week on Claude Code and just how you can amp up your app over time and align it to the market. But remember, the main way to align the app to the market is to use the LeanStack process. Lloyd's always going over it. So LeanStack level 1, right? Doing the actual business engineering. Then I would make that landing page with the email input. Then I would do LeanStack level 2, the interviews and the product design. Once you've done the product design, that's where I start using Claude to make the actual web application. Then you have the web app, you have your email list. You can share the web app with your email list, do some extended user interviews, potentially have some sales conversations, and then you're all set for LeanStack level 3, literally doing that marketing. All right, I hope everybody had a great night. And then I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream right here. I do see Lloyd in the background. Lloyd, can you just give me a thumbs up if I'm good to end the stream? All right, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and hit end stream. See y'all in the future. Oh, wait, Lloyd.
Yeah. Great job.
Thank you.